Hi guys and welcome back. We're continuing on today from our last video where we were looking at how to create two contrasting chord progressions within the key of C major, and we did that just as a revision by working with our keyboard and using these 6 different chords of C, D minor, E minor, F, G and A minor to create two contrasting chord progressions. And I'll just play quickly what I came up with in my demo as a revision. Great, so there's my two 8-bar chord progressions, one starting on A minor and the second one, we'll call that the chorus, starting on C. So now what we want to do is we're actually going to start experimenting with how to create a different or specific style of music with any given chord progression. Today I'm going to be doing something in the style of hip hop, but you could do this in a variety of different styles, which we will explore in other videos. Okay, so here we go. We're going to turn this chord progression into a basic hip-hop beat. So as you can see, I've loaded a number of different instruments here and I'll talk you through them as we go. But hip-hop, as you will know, predominantly has the main features of a strong beat, often with electronic drums, a strong bass line, often very simple arrangement for creating harmony, and then in certain sections use lots of background sounds and interesting effects to make the same pattern interesting for the listener and creating variety. So what I've done here, I've loaded up a drum, I've put a hip hop sound on it. If we have a look at my settings here, I clicked on there, I've gone to hip hop and I've chosen this hip hop drummer. So I came up with two beats here that sound like this. I've got two sections. And then the drums change for the second section. Cool, so there's my two sections. Now, to next add the bass line. Now, if you think about any hip-hop song or R&B song, contemporary piece, generally the bass line is quite disjointed or disconnected. That is to say, the notes are quite abrupt and there's often large gaps in between the two notes. So we're going to replicate that with our bass line. Now, in terms of how do we choose the notes for our bass line, I've simply created a bass line by understanding what the chords are. Up here, for example, my chord progression was A minor, G, F, G. So I've simply created a bass line that focuses predominantly around those notes. So have a listen. In the second section, it does the same thing. The chord progression is C, G, A minor, F, that classic 4-chord pattern there. So the bass line has simply followed those notes as well. So have a listen. You can hear I've made it slightly more interesting by stepping the notes from the note below or above. Great. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to replace the harmony, because most hip-hop songs aren't going to have an electronic piano just plonking the chord on the first beat of every bar. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to take that out. Now that we know what our chords are, we've got a bass line and a drum rhythm, and I'm going to change that up. For a classic kind of hip-hop sound, I'm actually going to use a grand piano sound. That sounds funny, but you'll see how that kind of makes sense in context. And what I've now done is by dropping that out, and rather than just playing the chords, I've done a little broken note kind of pattern thing here. Which is still following A minor, G and F. It's just separating the notes and playing them as broken chords. So have a listen to what I've done there. I then changed to block chords, playing the two notes together in the chorus. But again, just following the chord pattern that we'd already laid out. Cool. So that basically is the process for creating a simple groove in the style of hip hop using the chord progression you've already created. I've gone one step further here, and you guys may or may not get up to this today. It might be finished off next lesson. If you look here, you'll see I've got 3 extra tracks. I've got a male choir, a string ensemble, and an analog synthesizer. And what I've done there is basically do what's common in hip hop songs. In the chorus or in different sections, we add a couple of extra layers to change the texture and to make it interesting and not sound too repetitive. So basically all I did was I followed the exact same chord progression, playing the chords in for my choir part. All right, so following like this. G, A minor, F, and then all I did was copy and paste that onto another channel with a string ensemble. And this little doodad here, this is the panning, so I've made it so all of the choir is going to come out of your right speaker or your right earbud, and all the string ensemble is going to come out of your left. All right, so have a listen to how that sounds. Makes everything sound a bit fuller, not as abrupt. The last thing I've done with my analog synthesizer here is I've just created an interesting little part. Basically, it just plays notes, but it basically just triggers a little pattern that has an interesting sound effect to it. Have a listen. And a lot of hip hop songs have like sound effects like that incorporated into them, just to kind of, catch your ear and keep things interesting. So this is what the chorus sounds like all together. Great, so guys, that's how we take our original chord progression and turn it into a hip-hop groove. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Go ahead and have a go at that process yourselves, and thanks for bearing with this slightly longer than usual video.